My name's Owen. I'm the Dungeon Master of our Return of the Giants campaign.
Hey guys, I'm Jared. I'm playing the character of Krasus, Antares, a Astral Elf Wizard.
Hi everybody, I'm Michael. I'm playing Tetra reunite, Circle Stars Druid.
Hi, my name's Claire. I am playing Nauthiz, or Now, who is a Dwarven-forged fighter.
Hi, I'm Ali, and I'm playing Lyra, the Eladrin Druid.
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm playing Niles Silverwind, the monk Owlin.
Hi guys, my name's Simon. I'm playing the character of Ember. He wants to be a master of wildfire, but does he have the skills to be best one?
Hi, I'm Dave. My character is Harry Harrington, the Harengon, a roguish merchant with a heart of gold.
Actually, miss much.
You haven't missed anything, but we're here now. Hello, everybody. Oh, wait, hang on. Wait. The camera's not coming to give me a second. Wait, what? Wait, they're so slow. Michael, why'd you... Come on, Michael. Come on, Michael's camera. Okay, maybe it's disabled. Hang on. Let me just double check.
What?
Hang on. No? It's coming.
Come on.
Dave's just yawning. He's done. He's bored. Michael, why is your camera?
I'm just thinking, I wonder if I can get away playing Baldur's Gate and D&D.
No, you absolutely no. Okay, Michael's in. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Hello! Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Lost Archives, where we are not playing Baldur's Gate 3 tonight. We're playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, but who can tell the difference anymore? For the purposes of the enjoyment, raise your hand if you have played any Baldur's Gate 3 right now. Everyone but Matt. Keep your hand up if you've played. Keep your hand up if you've played 10 hours or more.
Yeah.
Keep your hand up if you've played 15 hours or more.
Ooh.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
Keep your hand up if you've played 20 hours or more.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I've seen Dave.
Dave and Ali. Dave and Ali are the winners. Keep your hands up if...
30 hours.
How many hours have you played, Dave?
32.6, it says right here on Steam.
Yeah, that's probably...
Dave, you have a full-time job, mate.
Yeah, I do.
Not for much longer.
How many hours of sleep have you had
I have
this week?
never been as productive at work. My job's delivery-based, so like if I do my job, as long as I'm available for call, it's fine. Man, the first 5 hours of my day is just go. Skip lunch, start playing Baldur's Gate.
Oh.
Outstanding. Well, we are all very much enjoying it. We're trying to convince Matt to just be a terrible worker and actually just play it when he's supposed to be in work.
As we were saying before, I have to succeed a wisdom saving throw every day.
Yeah.
And
look,
mate,
if I fail,
it's just take that illithid wisdom roll and instant success every time.
Look, I've only played an hour, so I feel you, Matt. I've been building a lot of stuff for Warhammer.
Oh, interesting.
Like Warhammer 40k or just regular?
I've been playing Age of Sigmar at the moment with some mates.
Nice.
Who are you rolling?
So I'm actually building Soul Black Gravelords at the moment.
Oh, nice. Okay, I'm Sylvan.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Are you playing with
I
Harley,
also
Jared?
have no, Harley does not play that.
Oh,
I have
really?
a bunch of Ballarat mates. I also have Ogor More Tribes, and I have Maggotkin and Urgle.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
and I have 40k too, though.
Sometimes run.
I haven't done Warhammer since high school, so yeah, that's another.
Oh, I only just started jumping into it, so.
I just think it's great because it sort of pares the rules down a bit, and it actually makes them like heaps more accessible.
I would like to run some Warhammer 40k like kill team in the future.
The smaller teams.
Because I know there's a few people that I know that would be down. So if we ever do decide to align on that, that'd be a fun one.
That would be.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not really giving it a go of Warhammer, but I'd be keen to give it a go, especially if, as you're saying, it's a slightly sort of pared down version of the.
Well, Age of Sigmar's pretty fun at the moment. My friends love it. They love it way more than they ever did 40k.
Oh wow!
I like
okay.
I like painting too.
Done.
And painting's fun, but I've only just started. I've been building heaps. I have a lot of painting to go.
I have a lot of building that's been sort of moved to the wayside and haven't done in way too long.
Yeah.
I can definitely recommend picking up a USB-C airbrush if you don't have an airbrush, with the full compressor and anything, because it really makes painting so much easier.
Yeah, my friend said airbrush, but they said I need to get my paint skills up first with the brush. Yeah. So get that down first and then jump onto that. At least contrast works because I'm painting a lot of stuff, so...
I used to be not bad. I don't know what my skills are like now.
Matt, you've always been good at art, so I trust that.
Yeah, I was going to say, 100% you'd be good at it. I've got to get back into mini painting because I've got the Witcher board game, the Witcher Old World, and it came with minis for every monster and all the witches and all the mages. So I really want to paint all of those. We're talking I think it's like 50 minis or something ridiculous that came in the box. It's fucking huge. So I will paint those.
Oh man, 50 minis, I wish. I had 60 zombies and 40 skeletons to paint. A bunch of other stuff too. So.
Fair. No, that's a good point. That is a good point. No, I do want to do that. And there's the new version, the next version of Scythe's coming out soon as well. Scythe Expeditions. Scythe being one of my favorite board games. The new Scythe's coming out, which I'm really keen for, so I'll have to paint those as well.
They're right.
This month. So, Claire and Michael, when you're next in Brizzy,
so good.
I know how much you loved playing Scythe with us. We'll break out Expeditions. It looks like a much more like narrative, story-focused thing. Rather than controlling the civilization, you control just the hero. And you're exploring the Tunguska event as it is in like the 1914 plus world.
Oh, that's cool.
I think there'll be more at Maui as well. That sounds more like Witcher and
So I'm very keen to play that.
I'm down.
Before I forget, I should say, podcast listeners, Simon isn't with us right now. I wasn't sure whether or not he would be joining us tonight because Simon and I, the company we work for, there's a big sales conference going on right now, which I'm obviously not attending. Clearly, Simon's a better worker than I am, so he's clearly there. So I think I wasn't sure whether or not he'd be able to sneak away into the hotel room and like use the Wi-Fi there to join us. I am supposed to be there, so we're going to keep it on the down low and hopefully no one will notice.
Don't tell anyone. Don't stream this to the internet or anything.
I trust them not to have checked this, and this is going to be edited out of the YouTube and podcast. So the bit where I said I'm supposed to be there, I'm not going to include because they will. I think they're more likely to listen to that because I'm assuming if they're at the event, they're not watching this live, hopefully. So should be good.
Well,
yeah, I'm sure.
But what you don't know, Owen, is that this is the feature entertainment for tonight.
In which case, you're welcome. Prepare to be entertained. We should dive in without too much further ado because I know Ali, it can't be a super late one for her. She's got an early start tomorrow morning, and I have a bit of an early start tomorrow morning so that I can get to the sales conference in time and no one notices that I wasn't there tonight. So we will do a quick recap.
Yeah, Ali has a quick start in the morning. She just wants to play Baldur's Gate early.
100%. Yeah.
I wish so hard. On the upside, I'll be finished like super early in the day. Afternoon anyway. So more Baldur's
10 plus
Gate
hours
time.
Baldur's Gate. Go. If your day's not 24 hours of Baldur's Gate, what are you doing with your life, really?
What are you even doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? You're taking long rests in the game. You don't need to sleep. Like, that's how it works, right? Now, let me do a quick recap.
Just quickly, so sorry.
Yeah, go.
My cousins played 43 hours Harley of Baldur's Gate.
What?
Hang on, how much of that is early access? So because if you look at my Steam
nothing.
things,
He just bought it.
Oh, okay, then that's really impressive.
He bought it at least.
I didn't play early access either.
Harley's my hero because it says on my 90 that most of that was early access. I played 2 full playthroughs in early access.
Most early access, yeah.
Holy shit!
I streamed hours in early access. What were you gonna say, Claire?
I think Ali wins with 47 hours.
Yeah, 47 hours.
Nothing but work, some sleep, and Baldur's Gate.
That's wild.
That's pretty impressive. Let's be honest, it's actually impressive.
Yeah.
Now,
It is, yep.
Let me do a recap and let's jump into the session. Obviously, last session we had a pretty awesome finale, so we'll jump straight back in with that. The Tempest Adventuring Guild, a name now legendary across the lands of Nostea, has formed a brand new team. Lyra, Tetra, Niles, Nauthiz and Krasus have been sent to the nearby settlement of Laspire to locate the hill giant fort recently seen flying overhead in the nearby area. Teaming up with Harry, a travelling Harengon merchant, and Ember, a Firbolg Druid, the group have travelled deep into a cave network to locate and rescue the captured villagers from the town. With the assistance of Balthazar, a mage from Oxenfurt, the team were able to portal the villagers out of harm's way while they faced off against the cultists, and their leader, a white crystal Genasi Kavanus, similar in appearance to Tetra. After an extremely tense battle, the team were victorious, managing to slay Kavanus despite taking some heavy damage themselves. Just as the team began to search for clues of what the cult had been doing near Laspire, The damaged giant relic implanted into Kavana seemed to activate, causing the matching implants to begin pulsing on the hands of each of the team. Once again, finding themselves experiencing the events of the past in the forms of giants, the group were reliving the gifting of land to elven refugees. In fact, they were the ones given the task of determining which giant clan was to give up territory to the elves. Deciding to see what they could do to influence events, the group began to share information regarding the future and their situation with Loki and then Sin Mare. Stretched to its limits, the simulation they were experiencing began to fall apart, revealing a being resembling a giant forged Archivist to be the architect of this dream. The team learned that Archivist had been created to link the giant clans together, as well as run simulations on the world to help predict future events. However, at some point before the giants had disappeared, he had been disconnected by Sin Mare. With the simulation restarting, the group made their decision about where to house the elves and found themselves back in the present. After journeying and helping the townsfolk to the nearby logging camp, the rest of the team made their way towards the settlement of Laspire once again, preparing to face off against the giants. However, a group of drunken dwarves mistook them for debtors and attempted to recover lost gold that they believed the party had acquired, managing to keep it without going too violent, minus Harry, obviously, who is a bloodthirsty killer bunny from, clearly, Monty Python's Search for the Holy Grail. The group were able to navigate this.
The knife was sheathed. The knife was sheathed.
If only your anger and aggression had been too. Maybe it would have been... But no, luckily the team were able to talk the situation down from a tense, almost fight breaking out level of aggression into a much more calm, much more chilled out affair. Finishing with the group asking the dwarves how they got there, the dwarves demonstrating by saying, "Oh, you just push this button here," and then vanishing from sight after pressing the button on top of a lantern. The team, realizing that they were about to head into danger, continued on their way towards Laspire. We left off last session as a shadow passed over the sun above them, the sound of flapping wings drawing their attention and their eyes skyward to reveal a green-scaled form, a large dragon circling overhead before shooting down towards the ground and landing off the side of the road in the nearby fields. Atop its back, a cloaked figure, elven in appearance with long grey hair, leapt from the back of the dragon and began walking towards the party, pulling back his hood to reveal Yervith, one of the founding members of the Tempest Adventuring Guild. And that is where we left off last session, with the introduction of Yervith once again. As Yervith strides towards you, his cloak shifting and changing to match the grasses and stones that he walks over, and then as he passes the fence that sort of separates this field from the main road, the cloak takes on this sort of pattern of lines of wood briefly before picking up again the cobblestones beneath his feet. As Yervith stands there, pulls his bow back into a more comfortable position, looks and goes, "Hey, I'm guessing you're the new recruits for the Tempest Adventuring Guild. I'm Yervith. How you doing?"
I'm not.
I see.
Lyra! He walks over, holds out his arms to give you a big hug, wraps you up in a big bear hug. Behind him, the dragon stalks towards you, almost feline-like in its mannerisms. And as it bends its neck down and sniffs at you, Lyra, you feel this sort of gentle puff of hot air as it nuzzles into you, and then leans back up and sniffs the rest of the group one by one.
Dragon on the forehead.
This is... my...
Hello, strange green creature.
Well, I hear you lot are having a bit of trouble. Mira sent me to come and check in on you.
Harry hides.
Harry hides.
The dragon sniffing this tiny little rabbit, and he hides, and he rolled a net 20. So
Harry just ducks into the grasses and vanishes from view. Gone. Just vanishing from sight.
Is this map accurate? Are we actually outside the gates?
It's a little bit further away than that. I've just got it there for representation.
That's fine. I was going to just point at the massive sphere in the sky, but...
I mean, Yervith had just flown over. Like he had a bird's eye view, a dragon's eye view of the whole situation. I mean, he was in a pretty good position to see anything that might be there. I mean, as he looks, goes, "Yeah, Mira said that you lot were in a spot of bother. How can I help?"
So there are these mechanical insects and other creatures just all over town, and we totally had this until, like, if you sort of peek through the lava cracks, there's totally like mechanical dragons and stuff down there.
Wow. Yeah, I think the team fought a mechanical dragon once before I joined on with them in a sky castle, one of the cloud giant places. It was like a clockwork dragon or something. It's sort of similar to that, because they had a bit of trouble with that, if I remember.
No clue. That must have been before Lockie got me out of the jam.
I think it might have been. I think that might have been before. Yeah. Well, you would have been there when they spoke about that, Lyra? You would have been there when they spoke about that, Lyra. Look, or maybe Shana was there. Maybe this is when that might make more sense. Yeah. So, clockwork dragons, other monstrosities. Well,
Giant cobra, like just sort of on the other side of the gates. Last time we saw it.
Yeah. Wow. How's everything been going? Have you found the townsfolk?
Yes, I was. Sorry, Mr. Yes. Niles of Wind.
Hi, Niles. How you doing?
Very good. Very excited. But no. I was just about to say, the townspeople. They left en masse when the mechanical creatures came and started tearing up their fine little village here. We found some of them. Just a half an hour walk back down the path in the forest there. They got captured by cultists though. From the elemental state. That was not planned or to be expected. So that was a bit of a bother. We dealt with them and got them back. But we also encountered some strange individuals there, and also we have these in our hands too, which is not good. Yes. We probably need to be speaking to maybe Lockie or someone a bit more about this.
Yeah. There's a few things I'm going to circle back to. I'm going to ask you about those in a second. Just want to circle back to cultists. Not a fan of cultists. I've had my fair share of cultists. Dealing with them, don't love them. What flavor are we talking? Dragon? Actually, they're the only ones I fought. But like,
these seem to be elemental.
They were Genasi.
Genasi, that's the one. Yes. They seem to have. Did anyone jot down what their insignias looked like? I didn't capture that myself.
I mean, I keep notes all the time, but I didn't actually point that out. So up to Owen, if Owen will allow me to say I noted that, but I don't really mind if he doesn't.
I'm just thinking, like, you wouldn't have had a lot of time to actually. Did take a long rest in the cavern where they were next to one of their bodies.
I know it's a little bit of like a weird sort of.
Yeah, I'd say you have like a rough idea of what it looks like. I mean, do any of you remember if you were to describe it? Do you remember?
I don't. I can't remember it.
I don't. But I was thinking, would Tetra be able to help him?
What I'll do, Krasus, I'll get you to roll a history check with advantage.
Don't say I was thinking.
Okay.
No, that's cool.
Let's do that.
Give you 23, 24.
Oh,
yeah, Krasus, as you think back, you didn't take a sketch, and you're realizing now you really should take a quick sketch, but you know roughly what it looks like. You remember that it was a combination of the symbolic stylized representations of the four elements. Twisting, burning fire, swirls of water overlaid, clouds underneath, and then what looked to be like jagged stones in the very center, almost superimposed on one another to form this very stylized depiction of the four elements acting as one. So you do vaguely remember it. And as you describe that, Yervith goes, I can't say I'm familiar with it. I'll have to check in with the... maybe check in with Dromethion, check in with some of the Genasi when I'm next doing a patrol down that way. Maybe the next time Eleanor and I head over to Chiari, make a stop off in the Elemental States.
What I'll do is, I'll because I've got it in my mind, I'll write it down. I'll put it because I always have notes. So I'll do a little note. I'll rip out the paper. I'll hand it to Yervith because he'll probably see Mira before me.
Oh, great!
If you see Mira, take this and give it to her. Give it to Griswold and such as well. Maybe he could find some research on it.
Sounds good. Griswold's not at the guild right now. We're not sure where he's gone, actually.
Oh?
That might be a story for another time. Yeah, he was experimenting with something, and he vanished. His laboratory is half empty. It's really weird. We're hoping he's okay. Tried scrying. I didn't try scrying. I can't scry, but people who were good at that. Mira gave that a go, and then we got some wizards from the university to give it a shot, and weren't able to find him. We're hoping he's all right. He was playing around with fey magic.
Oh no.
Oh.
That's never good.
Yes. But just that brings me back to the
yeah, the hand. Yeah.
So I mean, long story short, but we touched some sort of giant tech in the in the tavern here in the city. It seemed pretty important, and well, we touched it, and next thing I know, we've got these crystals embedded into the back of our hands. Can't really get them out, but it seems to be some sort of, how do you say? It's like we go back in time and experience these set events, and we're talking like back when the giants were here. So many years.
I can tell you
that.
Sorry. I was going to say the Oxenford Historical Society would kill for that. That would be make it very easy to locate and learn about the past if you could go back and experience it. Sorry, please keep going.
They are involved.
They're involved.
They sent an expedition to this town, apparently, and they were ones who found artifacts.
I might check in with them. I still have some contacts there. I used to do some work for the Historical Society before I joined on with the Tempest Guild. And Eleanor, what do you think? Should we? You watch as Eleanor sort of nods along and then nuzzles into him. Yeah, I think we'll check in with that before too long as well. A few leads we might need to follow up on.
Also, baby, before you get really excited about the handy visions, we're not 100% sure of their accuracy because it doesn't seem like it's actually I don't know. It's somebody's constructed the thing that we go into.
Reality is an illusion.
Yeah, that.
I'm pretty sure it's not. That's why it's called reality. Otherwise, illusions are illusions. Reality is reality.
No.
Virtual reality.
Can you make a persuasion check to try and convince Yervith that reality is not reality? Because I do remember Yervith, like, as a result of his time in the jungles, his grasp on reality is 18. You watch as Yervith kind of like stands there for a bit and like just ever so slightly rocks backwards and forwards for a few seconds. Eleanor comes and like places this very large snout on his back and nudges him, but he goes, thank you, Eleanor. I don't want to talk about that anymore.
Yeah.
So back to the hand thing. Niles, was it?
Yes.
Can I have a look?
Of course. Here you go.
Can I say it is a very weird experience playing a player's character while they play their new character, like role-playing their characters interacting. Because I'm trying to channel how Matt was with Yervith and not be corrupted with how he plays Niles at all. I'm having to remember Yervith as he was.
Yeah, perfect.
Yervith bends over, sort of like gives it a bit of a poke, examines it, and goes, Eleanor, what do you think? I can't really make much of this. It's not anything I'm used to. Eleanor's going to come a bit close. I know she's quite big, but I promise she's harmless. Well, I mean, she's not harmless, obviously. She's a huge dragon, but she won't hurt you, I promise.
Oh, hello there. Nice dragon.
Eleanor leans in, sniffs, and then places her scaled snout against your hand, essentially. The scales, probably you're expecting to feel cool to the touch, but there's a warmth there. Even in this green dragon form, there's this almost like a heat radiating from her. And as she presses her nose against the implant, against the Heartstone, there's a moment, Niles, where you feel that warmth passing into you. Could I have you please roll me a wisdom check? Not a saving throw, just a check.
Just a wisdom check, okay.
Just a wisdom check. You're a monk, you won't be too bad at those. 18. Yeah. That's lucky.
Okay.
You feel this moment of connection with Eleanor.
Ooh.
There's a moment where you can feel her emotions, her almost her mind, the shape of it, this vast consciousness, very alien to your own. The feeling of curiosity, of pride, and of trepidation mixing together in her mind and in her heart as she presses her nose to you, to your hand. You begin to feel those emotions almost washing over you, stronger than yours, as her vast soul within her seems to eclipse. And then suddenly, as she moves her nose away, the connection breaks. And you're left there kind of feeling that same curiosity just for a moment before it begins to drift and you feel your own emotions taking back again.
Ooh. Wow. That was something. Yeah, so we're not really sure what to make of this. Apparently Sinmare of the Giants made this technology, and well, we're a little bit confused.
She made
about,
these?
Supposedly. Oh, actually, was it her that made these?
Wasn't it the... Oh, not the Archivist, the...
Oh, no, it was another one. It was, what was his name?
Entity... Body.
Geladon. Geladon. It was Geladon. That's right.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen Sinmare in a few months, and I'm not due to check in on any of the giant castles in a while. I'll see if I can get word to Lockie. I should warn you though, now that you are members of the guild, Lockie's been acting a little strange lately. Ever since the Giants came back.
What do you
mean, he's always been a bit odd, right, Lyra? And he kind of like, Yervith kind of like chuckles a little bit nervously. And let me know if there's any, if you don't want me to talk about this in front of everyone, but I feel like you have a right to know as members of our guilds and as part of our family. He's been acting a bit odd recently. Calling people by wrong names, getting information mixed up, a little bit scrambled. Sinmare said it was nothing to worry about, but I'm pretty good at reading people, and I got the sense she was keeping something from us. I tried to talk to Mira about it, but Mira seemed to believe Sinmare and Lockie, and you know Mira, she's not that suspicious. She's generally quite trusting, so yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that. Because, so, you know, weird-ass hand things, talking to giant memory construct things, but the construct in our hands was saying that a lot of the giant tech after the giants returned can't be entirely trusted due to some sort of corruption that's been happening on varying degrees of levels to the different techs. I'm wondering if maybe we should talk to Sinmare on her own now. As much as I want to see Lockie again, but
that might be
I think,
a good idea.
maybe go to the source.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I really want to talk to Jin about this. He's, for those of you who haven't met Jin yet, he's our kind of like spy master in a way. He was very adept at gathering information and infiltrating, but unfortunately he's been in deep undercover for the last 2 months. Not been able to contact him.
That's a shame.
Do you know where
What was that, sorry?
I was just going to say, do you know where Sinmare is these days?
Last I heard at the Storm's Redoubt, the giant storm castle. But I have to say, I don't know that for a fact. I'm assuming that's where she is. That's where she was last time I checked in, and I know that's where she sleeps most nights. Or at least that's where she was. That sounds creepier. Can I say that again? That's where she, like, stays. That's like her home. Sorry,
watching people while they sleep, huh?
No, I've been speaking Draconic quite a lot recently, and it's you know how when you get so used to a language and the way it works, and then I have to keep switching back to Common, and it's really weird. Draconic now feels more my natural tongue than Common does, or Elvish. It's just hard getting used to again after being in Chiari for so long. It's really cold here, isn't it?
Actually, how does things go in Chiari? Last I heard, the the city was in a bit of a state after the attack of the dragon cult. Are things getting better there now?
Well, yes and no. It's complicated and a long story. I think let's wrap up what we need to do here. It sounds like we're on a bit of a time schedule, and I'll take you through what's happening in Chiari. It's a very long story, but we were wondering if maybe it was worth sending you there or to Balmia next at some point.
Well, in any case, back to the primary directive. We were sent to Lespire to deal with this situation.
Yeah, so there's a big circle in town, big sphere.
Well, yes, actually, I was going to get to that. Our information tells us that a couple of days ago, when the sphere became active, there was a hill giant castle that flew overhead, and after that, the circle seemed to activate, and that's when the insects started crawling out and taking out the town. We believe that we can potentially, if we can get to the sphere, we should be able to deactivate it. Is that the understanding?
In the sphere.
Yeah. Yes.
Great.
We think we should be able to get in a little bit easier with this. The little ant-like creatures seem to give us a wide berth, but it's it's the bigger ones, the more deadly ones that seem to be giving us a bit of trouble.
Well,
maybe you could help us out with that.
I think that's well within what Eleanor. I think Eleanor, I can help you out with that, of course, can't we, Eleanor? As Eleanor sort of stands up very proudly, her neck extending to its full reach as she stands over you, her form blocking out the sun as she stretches her wings for a moment and then shuffles them back. Well, we'll run interference, draw attention. Oh, yeah, sorry, Lyra.
Before you run in, like I was saying, there is a giant... There's a giant cobra-looking thing in there, and it has laser turrets on its tail.
I'm sorry, what?
Laser turrets.
That's the coolest two words I've ever heard together.
Yeah, until it fires at you.
That's that's scary. Okay.
Just to be cautious and, evasive action and all that stuff.
He looks up at Eleanor. We might have a plan for that. To draw attention and get rid of that thing in one go. Is that the only thing blocking the entrance to the gates?
There's a few things.
Menagerie of spiders, some scorpions I think we've seen, and probably God knows what else, including the cockroach dragons under the ground.
Even if you're able to pull some of them away, and give us an easier passage towards the sphere, that would be most appreciated. I don't want to put too much trouble on your shoulders. We should be able to deal with this ourselves as well, of course. But of course, your assistance would be most grateful.
No, I'd be happy to help. I think Eleanor's been looking to sink her teeth into a bit of a challenge, and I think this will be a good test of our skills and how far we've come.
I wouldn't want Eleanor to sink her teeth into those creatures. They're a little metallic. They might be a little bit hard on her teeth, perhaps.
He smiles a little bit cheekily, looks up at Eleanor's teeth and goes, I think she'll be fine.
Oh, okay.
Well, if they're metallic, these creatures, any weaknesses you've identified? Would Eleanor and I be better off attacking with a certain elemental damage? What do you reckon?
It's at this point that Niles pulls out the bag of holding and starts pulling out the various pieces of scrap and like bits and pieces that he's been pulling, because he did actually grab a bit of stuff from when he was in the city the last time. It's not like full bodies, but it's just bit segments and things. So just so I guess but can get a bit more of a hands-on sort of look at what these things are.
As he picks them up and looks over them, he goes, "You said these were insects. These are true constructs. These look a little bit like Loki's plates." Well, we know Loki didn't love lightning. Maybe we should bring you back as a blue dragon, Eleanor? What do you reckon? Eleanor sort of shimmers her scales in the sunlight and then looks down, snorts. What do you reckon? We can go blue, otherwise go gold or red, the classic combo. Rain fire from above. What do you think? You've encountered these things. I'll follow your direction. You tell me what you think would work best.
I mean, do we recall Like electricity being used on them before?
I don't think you guys used either fire or electricity on them, unfortunately.
We did use some ice. I remember that.
You did use ice.
We brought it down, and yeah, but that's it.
I don't think we used any fire against them because that was prior to when we had Simon in the team.
Yeah.
Ember in the team, which he would have used fire against them, but he wasn't. He didn't encounter any, so I'm not sure.
Lightning sounds logical.
Lightning sounds safe.
It does not sound safe.
No, I mean,
the opposite of safe.
If you were able to create a resistance to the lightning, that would be safe, so to speak.
Give me a moment. You watch as Yervith walks over to Eleanor, places a hand on her chest and closes his eyes, and from his hand a wave of blue begins colouring her scales. As her scales shimmer and shift, the green bleeding into aqua, and then this beautiful royal blue. Her head shape changes ever so slightly, the spine's taking on a slightly more aquatic look as her wings begin to shift a little bit to take on these long fins. Eleanor shakes and is now a blue dragon.
Woo!
Who indeed, my feathered friend? Well, I'll climb up. I'll start my. I've got a plan to deal with the snaky thing, and then the signal will be. You'll know the signal. Trust me. You'll know the signal.
Okay. Thanks again, Yervith.
Of course.
Really appreciate it.
It's lovely to meet you all, young, eager faces. I have to say, you've joined a really good group. As Lyra will attest, the Tempest Guild are the family, and they look after each other.
Making the trip out.
No. It's good to see you again. We'll have a proper catch up back at the Night Hall, I think. But for now, once more onto the breach. Yervith climbs back up onto the back of Eleanor, his cloak shifting to take on the blue scales. As he takes off, you watch as he unholsters his bow, which begins to glow with this soft light, almost like a light blue glow coming off it, as lightning begins to crackle up and down the bowstring. He pulls it back, and he watches an arrow forms out of the lightning. He smiles as he looks down, gives you guys a wink, and Eleanor takes flight. As she flies over the top of the town gate, her wings flapping, creating this displacement of air underneath her, a beam of energy shoots up from the ground, narrowly missing as she swerves and ducks. A second later, Yervith releases the bowstring, this bolt of energy striking down into the ground, and you watch as a lightning bolt shoots down and up, almost meeting in the middle of the air right where the arrow left his quiver. A moment later, Eleanor dives down, disappearing for a moment below your line of sight, before emerging, flying a little bit laboriously, as in her front claws she is holding the giant construct snake that you'd seen before. As they fly higher and higher, she tears off the snake's tail, and you watch as it tumbles down, crashing into the town below. The snake stops still, and then you hear this noise beginning to emanate from it, almost like a siren, this... The ground beneath you begins to rumble ominously.
Oh no!
Cracks begin to sound as you watch, emerging from the center of the town, pulling themselves free of the rubble, 2 clockwork dragons, as well as a myriad of other clockwork creatures pulling themselves free. As one of the dragons pulls itself up, you watch as one of its wings gets torn off in its attempt to pull itself free of the ground. Yervith, quickly leaning over the edge of Eleanor, looses another arrow that strikes into its heart. The dragon freezes in place and then shudders to a stop. The other dragon, however, this one looking a lot less damaged, a lot less, I'd say ravaged by time, takes off, Yervith having to quickly fly and turn Eleanor in the midair. Emerging from the crack, you see a number of other creatures, some that resemble giant eagles, giant bats, all clockwork, all made of this same reflective brass-like material, taking off towards Yervith.
Oh.
What do you guys do?
Ah!
It's bad run.
It's bad. could be its bad run.
Where's the sphere? Can we see it?
Yeah, I think we
It's
just...
still in the center of town, as far as you guys know. Just book it. Okay. What we're gonna do? I'm gonna throw you into, rather than throwing into initiative, we're gonna be in like a semi-initiative state where we're gonna do a series of skill-based challenges as you make your way. Exactly, as you make your way towards the sphere as quickly as possible. Don't worry too much about the map. We'll keep it mostly in theater of the mind. I'm going to use the map to sort of briefly keep an idea of where you guys are, but it's not going to be really representative of anything other than just me keeping a bit of an eye on you guys. So, let me flick the music across, and let's jump into a skill-based challenge series. As you guys rush through the main gates, you can see that the ground is strewn with rubble from where this massive crevice has opened. No longer is it the small branching cracks glowing softly with lava. Instead, the whole center of town has been split in half. This massive rift digging deep into the earth. Half buried, you can see the glint of many more metallic creatures, almost covered, semi-buried. But as the crevice opens wider and wider, more and more creatures are beginning to suddenly start like moving and twitching. You watch as another one of the cobras, probably about 30 feet down and about 50 feet away from you and 30 feet down, the head of the cobra begins to twitch, and you watch as those gemstone eyes begin to glow softly, flickering a little bit as if it's still in the process of powering on. The rubble in front of you poses a challenge. Trying to run past it quickly is going to be difficult. How do you, all of you, get past the rubble and begin making your way deeper into the town and bypass this rift? So the way it's going to work is you guys can still talk amongst yourselves a little bit as a group. As you like run up, you can quickly be yelling things back and forward. So I'd say you've got a little bit of time to discuss as you rush up. But the more time you spend discussing, the more time will elapse as well. If you wanted to just jump in and start casting spells, that's fantastic. If you wanted to like jump in and start doing actions or checks, just say what you want to do. But you do have a little bit of time as you're running along to talk amongst yourselves. Mold Earth.
As Lyra she starts like booking it towards the gate, she's got Mold Earth ready in one hand. And she's just trying to flatten out sort of the terrain as much as possible with the help of Tetra.
Yeah.
Tetra also has Mold Earth. Fantastic. The two of you, could I get you to please roll me, roll it as if it's a spellcasting attack, so just roll your d20 plus your spellcasting modifier plus your 10 Lyra. Plus your proficiency bonus was the other that I was looking for. 10, that's okay. Tetra, roll yours as if it's just a base spell attack. 12. Lucky there's two of you doing this together because they're very average rolls. As the two of you rush out, Lyra initially trying to clear a pathway, the rubble is much denser than you were expecting, and it's not just composed of stone and earth. There are fragments of building here as well, sections of houses that have been destroyed, as well as a massive tree that has been uprooted from the park that was in that town square. Luckily, though, you're able to quickly build a ramp up the side that keeps your momentum going. As you get to the other side, Tetra clearing the sections of fountain that had just been smashed open, allowing you to run forwards with a bit more ease. While Tetra and Lyra are doing that, does anyone want to do anything else?
Go.
Anyone else want to assist with that? Yeah, Michael, yeah, you got something?
Yeah, well, the thing I just wanted to say that probably the way that Tetra would do it so that, like, you know, Lyra's got her bit and she's got her bit, which is like, so the stuff which is more like the closer to sort of like the rubbly stuff and maybe some like there's any bits of metal in there, she's using the sort of magnetic side of things to sort of like push and disperse and like shift things out so they're a little bit softer earth so the Lyra can just plow through.
Love it. That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. You watch as that happens. Yes. Harry. You're muted, baby boy.
Oh no.
Oh no, sorry. I was adjusting my mic before and I forgot to unmute myself afterwards.
Classic
Can Harry like Yeah, I know, right? Mike adjusts. Can he, like, for flavor, he's on all fours and he's like, galloping, almost like hopping. Yeah. He wants to try to keep in line with the other two, and he wants to use his perception to point things out that might be like obstacles or anything that's coming in, and just like
scouting ahead to try and find the easiest path to help direct Tetra and Lyra's efforts so that they don't have to focus and waste their energy on sections that are much denser. You can sort of find easier, clearer patches. Absolutely. I'd say that'd be perception or survival. Your choice.
I am very happy with perception, please.
Perception will do. Absolutely.
That's also an average roll.
10. Very average rolls tonight. That's okay. It kind of makes sense.
Fives, right?
it does kind of make sense, though, in the moment. Like, this is suddenly a very tense moment. You watch as high above you, you see Eleanor, the blue dragon that Yervith is riding, narrowly dodge another blast of lightning from this clockwork dragon's maw. Around her, 2 clockwork griffins are harrying Yervith, causing him to, for a second, have to sort of break concentration on his bow. The electricity vanishes from it as he summons these vines in the air that wrap around these clockwork creatures, causing them to tumble down and smash into the earth not too far from where you guys are. So it makes sense that your rolls are like kind of reflecting that. I mean, this is probably one of the tenser situations you guys have found yourselves in so far since you joined the guild. But yeah, 10 Harry, absolutely, yeah. With your very quick, keen eyes, you're able to... He not Thorn Whip, he's got an upgraded version of it. You are able to... I've got a joke for that, don't worry. I've got something for that. Don't worry. I've got something for Thorn Whip. I've got a really funny thing with that. Very good. Yeah, Harry, you're able to really quickly guide Tetra and Lyra to minimize their efforts and help them through the rubble quicker. Absolutely. If there is anything else you guys want to do to help out the skill check, what I'm now going to do, now that if there's anything else, call out now. Otherwise, I
guess I'll probably be doing more of a reactionary thing. It sounds like a lot of people are doing things to move us along. So
I agree with Krasus. I will probably just sort of hold back to see if I need to react to anything on the fly.
So what I'm going to do is we'll send Sova up in the air to circle around. It's not so she's like in the whole mess that's happening currently with Yervith, but like just above us.
I was going to say, because she's going to be instantly vaporized if she...
I'm just talking like maybe like 20, 30 feet above us, just to like have a bird's eye view of us, and then she can be on the lookout for any potential threats that are coming our way, and give us almost like an early warning detection system.
Yeah, I'd say that Niles is probably similar tactics, using his speed to probably sort of to that advantage, hovering just above like the houses, the roof lines, and just sort of keeping close, but also just sort of reacting to anything that might happen.
Yeah, brilliant.
And I guess the last thing I'll add, if we do get alerted to anything coming towards us, I have minor illusion ready to go to do almost like, because I can do any sound and I can make it as loud as a scream. So if I notice anything sort of coming a bit more towards our direction, I'm ready to cast that in the opposite direction of us, and almost like a scream. Maybe not per se like that volume, but maybe like an alarm or anything to draw its attention away if it's coming towards us, and then it can sort of hopefully go off that way. So I'm sort of, like I said, a bit more reactionary while everyone else says other things. Just watching our backs.
No, I love it. Could I get a perception check from both of you, please? Or investigation, your choice.
Do you want me to do it, or do you want my bird?
It'll be your owl, Krasus, and for Niles, it'll be your stats, Niles.
Yep, no problem.
I could have advantage on this for hearing and sight.
You do. In your owl form, 12. You do. Or as your owl familiar does.
I'm just going to roll a d20. It's a +3.
Natural 20.
Hey, there it is.
Alrighty. So, if there's... nothing... So, for each of you looking ahead, the path at the moment seems clear, although, Krasus, you do hear a warning hoot from above, as Sova does seem to spot something. Not in your immediate vicinity, but something coming up in the next little bit.
Okay, I'm going to use my action real quick to see through her eyes for just a second, just to pinpoint where it is, and then revert straight back to me again.
Okay. As you stop and pinpoint, you see a glint of metal in the distance as something slithers between the buildings up ahead, probably about 10-15 meters away from you.
Is it coming towards us, or
no? It doesn't seem to be coming towards you. Sova spots this thing moving between two of the buildings up ahead.
I'll leave it for now, just because it's no point doing anything and sort of probing it if it's not actually coming towards us. But if it makes any move, I'm ready to go with the minor illusion.
Perfect. Alrighty. With all of the things that you've done to help out this first skill check, what I'm going to get each of you to roll. For those of you running along the ground, it's going to be an acrobatics or an athletics check, your choice. The DC has been adjusted based on the things that you've done to help make the pathway easier. For Niles, who is flying through the air, it's going to be an acrobatics check, because Niles, as you begin sort of shooting through, trying to keep above, there's still debris raining down from above as a result of this rift being blasted open and the dragons pushing through. So 15 from Harry.
Could it have been an acrobatics check if we're on the ground, or is it only athletics?
No, athletics or acrobatics check if you're on the ground. It's
oh,
either.
fuck.
What's your plus for acrobatics?
5 instead of -1.
Okay, cool.
So it's a 13, so plus 5, 18.
Yeah. So 15 for Harry, 19 for Tetra, 15 for Now, 14 for Krasus, 18 for Lyra, and 23 for Niles. Yeah. The rubble proves no real great threat to you. With the combined efforts of Harry shooting up ahead to kind of point out weak spots and areas of relative clearness, Lyra and Tetra shooting ahead to move the rubble and shape it using mold earth to help you sort of avoid some of the more dangerous patches, and with Krasus and Niles keeping an eye out from above, you're able to get through this initial debris field as you head deeper into the town. The next stage. As you get past the debris field and begin running through the narrow streets, you can see all around you that many of the worker ants, these drones, the drone constructs, have kind of frozen in place momentarily, their eyes blinking rapidly with this red light. As you begin rushing through, you watch as the drones immediately blinker the lights on, but don't make any moves towards you, just almost watching like a silent guard as you rush past them. Moving through the narrow streets, Krasus, you're getting up to the point where you had briefly seen that serpent-like form moving between the townhouses. Did you want to call anything out, or keep it to yourself for a moment?
Oh no, I'll let everyone know that just as we're entering this area, just to be on the lookout for this potential threat.
Perfect. As
Let's
Krasus,
let everyone know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a good idea. As Krasus calls out to you, you hear another hoot from above Krasus as Sova begins moving away from an alley off towards your left, leading you towards the right. Her natural 20 means that she's got a clear line of sight with this thing from above as she tries to lead you towards an alley to the right, like clearly getting your attention to follow her. There are 3 pathways ahead, one towards the left, one straight ahead, and one off towards the right. The one to the left, Sova has immediately turned away from. The one straight ahead, it looks like there might be some rubble up ahead. The one to the right leads partly down into an area that has collapsed into the rift. My question is, which way did you guys want to go?
Well, I'm going to go right.
Yeah, I think follow Sova.
I'll call out to everyone, just sort of go, follow Sova. She seems to have something going on.
Yep.
Something in plan.
From my position, I can see that Sova's probably flying right. Do I get any indication as to what's like left that maybe Sova is trying to avoid?
Even though your perception of 12 before wasn't amazing, you do see, again, actually, I'd say probably Niles, it's more what you hear. You've got that very sensitive owl hearing. You hear this familiar sound of metal scraping against stone and the sound of something spinning up, almost like a motor beginning to move faster and faster.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's get out of there.
Yeah, so like pirouette in the air and just sort of go to the right with everyone else flying overhead.
As you guys begin rushing down along the street, the cobblestones beneath you give way to rough earth and compacted stone. As the pathway drops off a little bit, you have to kind of pause for a second and almost help each other down the edge of this partially collapsed section of street. Far below you, the rift has opened even wider than before, the ground shaking ever so slightly beneath your feet. And for any of you who peer over the edge, you can see that there are what look to be almost like tunnels of metal, half buried and partially collapsed and indented, buried within the stone and the earth beneath you. Almost like a network of caves, but artificially constructed of this metal. Very reminiscent of the architecture that you saw in your visions of the giants. The narrow ledge along the rift passes over a half-buried dragon, the one that had torn itself free trying to get towards Yervith and Eleanor, but destroying itself in the process. Its upper wing now forms a very almost makeshift walkway connecting the edge of this collapsed street to the town square above you.
Jump.
What was that? Jump? Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, Baldur's Gate 3. Fucking hell, it's going to find its way in, isn't it?
Yeah.
As you get towards the narrow ledge, you can see that it's probably about 2-3 meters, so about 15 feet, walking across this narrow ledge and then up this severed metallic wing to get up to the town square above you. The dragon's body, which is sort of hanging over the edge of the rim, you can see the head is still occasionally twitching, one of the eyes still flickering with this red light. My question is, what do you guys want to do for this next stage of the skill challenge?
So is there like a gap, or is it just like real narrow?
No, the wing actually is half. As the wing had, so essentially the way to imagine it is the dragon had been buried. This clockwork dragon had been buried. When it tried to tear itself free, one of its wings was still stuck in the stone, not just buried in earth, but actually almost entombed within rock itself. And it tore its wing off, leaving this pathway that connects from the narrow ledge up towards the top of the town square. The wing is still half buried in the stone. And there's a narrow walkway that then leads to this buried wing. The body, which then was no longer connected to the wing, slumped down and is now hanging over the edge of the rift. The tail and hind legs still up on the top of the town square, but the upper torso, front legs, and head hanging down over the edge, swinging very lightly in this breeze. And probably from the momentum of being torn in half. And I will say as well, there's one other detail. In the chest that's hanging over the edge, there's an arrow sticking out, still crackling occasionally with little bursts of lightning.
Cool.
That's awesome.
That's very cool.
Badass.
Is Sova or Niles giving any indication that using the wing as a bridge would be a bad idea? Like if we're all sort of beelining it for it?
Well, I guess that's a good question for Niles, and then a question for Krasus. What do you want Sova to still be on lookout, Krasus? Or Niles, are you still on lookout? Because in the next stage of the skill challenge, it's now a whole new round. So if you want to roll perception checks or things like that, it's all going to be new for this
I
stage.
think Niles probably, he might be able to like maybe just test the integrity of this wing. Just because I imagine he's maybe like a little bit further ahead along with Sova.
Yeah.
So I think Niles is probably going to like do a bit of a cursory look around, see if there's any like immediate threats in the area, and then based on that, he'll like fly down onto the wing and then just like sort of test it to see how like stable it is.
Absolutely. Could I please get a perception check? And
Absolutely.
Then, we'll do the perception check first. I haven't done many skill challenges before.
That was actually not
I'm
bad.
be doing lots of them. I think they're
23 for that perception check.
23, Niles. Very nicely done. As you look around, you can see that, I mean, as I said before, the wing is half embedded in the stone. To your eyes, Niles, your very keen owl perception, you don't think this wing is going anywhere. If this clockwork dragon was unable to free itself and tore its own limb off trying to get free, you don't think the wing is going anywhere. However, up on the surface where the town square is, where the wing is hanging over, you can see that there is a very loose patch right at the rim of the rift where the wing sort of joins on, where the soil was loosened as the dragon tried to tear itself free. The party, when they get to the very top of the wing, they're going to have to jump to get across safely. It doesn't look like they do, but to your very keen perception, you think they're going to have to jump. It's probably going to be about a 2 meter jump, but still they're going to have to jump.
I
sort of pop off the wing, sort of move back towards the rest of the party as they're coming towards me, and I just relay that to them. I say, the bridge itself, the wing here seems stable, but you're all gonna have to make a jump at the end there. That soil looks a little bit unsafe, a little bit unstable.
Owen,
Hello.
can I have a bit of a interpretation?
Yeah.
So I've got this tensors floating disc.
Yes.
It says that it floats 3 meters or 3 feet or whatever off the ground.
I think it's 3 feet.
But it's like, could I have it like half on the ground and just sort of have it like a, sort of it's like, part of it's on the ground, but like, would it be too unstable to sort of, if it was only?
I think it's specifically it doesn't angle. I think that's part of the spell's benefit is that it doesn't angle to meet the ground. It stays perfectly horizontal because you can pile things on it. You don't have to worry about balancing. It just automatically stays horizontal. Yeah, it's a circular horizontal plane of force. So it's
so like,
always horizontal.
If I just like ellipse like a little bit like sort of on a stable patch of dirt so that it's like maybe it's only like a meter that we have to jump instead of 2 meters.
But I mean, I don't want to give you ideas like specifically. It's like
it's just because it's only 3 feet in diameter. So
yeah. So the problem is it has to be horizontal because it does specifically say it is a circular horizontal plane of force. And I think that is very much part of the spell. The way it works is it's not angleable. Otherwise, you could use it to plug holes and things like that because it's essentially a portable wall of force if you could angle it in any way you wanted. So I think it very explicitly is a horizontal plane of force. Yeah, 3 feet in diameter, 1 inch thick that flows 3 feet above the
maybe
ground.
even like have it on the edge of the wing so that it's sort of we can use it like a stick.
You can absolutely because it appears 3 feet above the ground in an unoccupied space of your choice within 30 feet, and it remains there for the duration. So
yeah.
And it doesn't move when you're within 20 feet. So yeah, absolutely, you can create a little platform to help reduce the jump distance 100% when you get up to the top of the wing, definitely.
I guess one question to ask is, is that going over the crack then? Because then does that mean it plummets down to 3 meters off the ground again if there's like a drop?
I would say that no, because as long as part of it's in line with the wing, even like the edge of it, I'd say that because the spell's not going to pass through the ground or anything like that, it'll go to the highest point. So if it like is in line with it, I'd say that it's going to stay in line with it, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah, you could have it like a mill, like
just
on the edge of and it would be stable. Yeah.
I would rule that. I think the spell is very clearly meant to
Sweet.
be interpreted that way.
We'll have Harry shoot an arrow into the cliff edge or something.
It does say it can move across uneven terrain, but it can't cross an elevation change of 10 feet or more. But that's okay because it means that you can't move it. Once you put it in this position, if you try and move it across the gap, it'll just disappear. But that would be awful. But yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that should be fine. Yep, I would rule that, definitely.
You've got it ready.
Ready to cast.
Right.
Is anyone else wanting to contribute to this skill challenge?
Yeah, so is it actually a gap, like a 2 meter gap?
No, that's the tricky thing. It's only about a 50 centimeter, 60 centimeter gap, but the edge of that area is all loose earth. If you were to jump across and land on that loose earth that's about 1.5 meters away from the wing, Niles has identified that the ground is very unstable and there's a chance that it could collapse underneath your feet.
Okay. Well, could Tetra then use her mold earth that's been up to try and strengthen it a little bit?
Yeah,
maybe not
100%.
bring it back like true, but at least have it so that it's like easier. Less
I'm pretty sure mold earth. I'm pretty sure mold earth explicitly says that you can. Pull it open really quickly, but if you target an area of loose earth, you can excavate it, or you can.
You can call the ground on normal terrain if it's already difficult.
Yeah, I would argue that if it's on the ground, you can cause it to become difficult terrain, or you can make it normal terrain. Yes, I would argue that you can remove the loose. You can tighten up the bonds and almost solidify it slightly. Yes, I would argue that definitely.
That probably works better.
What's good?
Perfect.
About
Dave, it sounded like you were thinking of contributing something for Harry. You don't have to.
No. Harry's just got the hop ability, so he's just looking after himself in this one. He's just going to do a massive 3 meter jump.
Harry's just like, fuck it.
And he
Bodies
does,
for the
he does
win.
he does like one of those where the heels hit each other, like
Click, click.
Yeah, while he's in the air.
Perfect. Is there anything else anyone wants to add? Claire?
I'm just.
I'm gonna
Sorry.
keep an eye on that dragon head if it's twitching.
Absolutely now.
Yeah, I think now's just looking out for any dangers, and we'll like smack that in the face if it does.
It's probably hanging a bit. So from where you guys are, the closest it would get is as you're about halfway up the wing. It's going to be about probably 30 feet away from you and slightly down. From where you are now, it's about 50 feet away from you and slightly up because the wing forms a bit of a natural ramp. So it's going to be hard to smack it close range.
I have a spear.
But a spear, if you were throwing a spear.
Pin it away from us so the mouth's not facing or hanging anywhere.
Oh, okay. So you want to like throw the spear to try and like pin it. Yeah. Do you want to do that now?
Yeah, why not?
Do you want to do that now? Now.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'll get you to make me a melee. Make a thrown weapon attack with your spear.
Okay.
I said melee attack. 25 now.
Woo!
Amazing. This was a very, very good call. As you watch the head sort of like swinging a little bit in the leftover momentum from its movements, as Niles lands on the wing and then gets up again, you watch as the head kind of shuffles a little bit and almost like shudders, and as the arrow that has been sort of like shooting this lightning through it suddenly dies down, the crackling energy dissipating from it. You watch as the head slowly begins to lift up, the mouth sort of turning towards you, this sort of creaking, jarring movement, and as the jaw lowers and then hangs slightly ajar as a section of the join breaks, you watch as this fire begins to build up in its maw. Now, you just heft a spear. The spear goes right through the mouth, shattering the ruby that's at the very center of its jaw that produces the flame and pulling the head back against the wall. You watch as the lower jaw completely severs with this tearing of metal and then plummets down into the rift below. The dragon's eyes sort of like shift and look around a little bit, the ruby's moving, and you watch as it tries to move its lower jaw, the gears turning, but the spear keeps it held against the wall, unable to attack. Very nicely done now.
Nice.
Now run.
Now run.
Nice.
Now run.
Perfect. Okay. So, as you get onto this next stage, for those of you who are going to shuffle along the ledge, it's going to be an acrobatics check. No need for Niles to make one because there is no danger in the air right now for you. For those of you who want to make a running jump onto the wing to avoid the narrow ledge and trying to shuffle across it, I'm going to get an athletics check, please. Oh, now. Oh, Tetra.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy. Yep, okay.
Just like Baldur's Gate, actually.
Just like Baldur's Gate. So, Lyra 16, Harry 25, Krasus 17. The three of you just nimbly shuffle along the edge of the crevice, along this narrow ledge, pulling yourselves up onto the wing. Behind you, as Tetra goes to make a running jump, the wing shifts a little bit, the ground crackling and moving as a very light tremor shakes the ground. Tetra, as you go to land on the wing, you just mistime it, and your form, as you fly towards the wing, you smack into the side of it and begin sliding off. Now only a second behind you as the exact same thing happens, as now smashes into the side of the wing. However, given the efforts you guys made before, I would say that there is a reaction for Harry, Lyra, Niles, and Krasus.
I was gonna say, can I try and help them?
So, just really quick to understand what's happened to them. So they've hit the wing.
They've gone to run and jump across the narrow ledge. Rather than walking across the narrow ledge like you guys did, they decided to make a running jump. They've mistimed it and smashed into the side of the wing and are now sliding off, unable to get a purchase with their hands. Yeah. As the metal proves to be a slippery surface to try and grab hold of. Just in front of you. Like you're standing, the three of you are standing on the wing. Niles sort of flapping above, keeping himself in the air. Niles, if you wanted to dive down and try and pull one of them up using your feet.
Yeah, Yep.
And I'm gonna also, while Niles doing that, the other one, I'm gonna quickly grab my rope out, and hopefully I'm weak, but with the other two people with me, hopefully all three of us can bring the other one up. We'll do that with Tetra though, because now might be very. Oh, actually, that's a very good point. Now it's very heavy.
Yeah.
Now work for it. Like if we sort of like throw a snare, like try and have it.
A snare, like a to catch a small animal for food.
Yeah, like if you're imagining, it's sort of like a rope that sort of triggers
you need
a touch.
You need a
snares
an actual
that's a little bit different. A snare is quite thin rope. It's not even rope. I'd say it's more string than rope.
Yeah, it is.
Could Harry use his have a reaction to grab his rapier, spike it into the ground as an anchor, and quickly throw his feet down for someone for now or Tetra to grab with their hands, so he's the end of a rope.
Yeah, 100%.
Wait, so you holding the hilt of the rapier?
Yeah, because I'm not strong enough to pull them up, so they'll have to climb up me.
Oh, I see.
Depending,
I wouldn't be able to grip the rapier with my feet, and
you can't.
Like that.
I'll tell you right now, you can't grab the blade. It is a blade.
No.
Yeah, that's
no. I've got the handle. And I've just staked in the ground, and I'm holding it like that, and then my feet are dangling off for now with someone to Tetra to quickly grab.
Niles, you said you were going to try and grab one of them. Who do you want to try and grab?
Yeah.
I'm going to be quick with timing now, because in the moment they just boom and then start slipping.
Do they both land at the same time?
One after the other. Tetra and then Niles immediately running to sort of help Tetra.
I'm just going to try help Tetra out.
How dangerous is this right now?
There's below you, there's open air into the entrance to this rift for about 30 feet, and then another ledge juts out below.
Okay, you know what? It's now it's so heavy, I'm just going to vortex warp it.
Cool.
Great use of vortex warp.
Look, honestly, now it's super heavy. I don't think with us three even, we're all pretty weak. I think this is just easy done.
Now it's genuinely a statue.
I don't know what role should I do to help Tetra? Is that athletics or?
I'm gonna say that this will fall under probably a strength saving throw as you try and grab hold of Tetra and flap to stop her sliding off.
Strength is not my best stat, but I will try my best.
Does my thing help him at all, or is my thing separate?
You're doing your thing. That's going to help Tetra climb up. At the moment, what Niles is trying to do is just slow Tetra's descent, stop Tetra sliding off the edge.
Yeah, I'm just trying to stop, get him. Yeah. I'll just roll a strength saving throw her for the best. It's all 20.
That's good.
+1. That's crazy.
As now is vortex warped onto the wing, Niles.
Yes.
I'd say probably you just met one of your heroes, someone you've looked up to.
Yeah, that's true.
Your whole life. You could not be feeling more. Yeah, you could not be feeling more inspired right now. You're a member of the Tempest Adventuring Guild. You've just met one of the founding members of the Tempest Adventuring Guild, one of the people you've looked up to for a very long time, and he just welcomed you with open arms, said that you're now part of the family. Niles is feeling on top of the world right now, despite the events that are going on around. There's probably still this massive morale boost that's happened inside Niles' mind. Niles, you don't even think. You just act, and as you shoot down, your claws wrapping around Tetra's shoulders, you flap for all of your work, just with all of your effort, pulling Tetra back onto the wing before you then stumble down onto the wing of the dragon yourself, sort of puffing a little bit under the exertion, but still riding high on adrenaline at this point as you roll a 20, a 19 plus 1 for a dirty 20.
I like to think that in this moment, as Niles is experiencing all of this all at once, obviously feeling elated that he's met one of the famous members of the Tempest Adventuring Guild in Yervith, but he also has this cult throwback to when he's been training in in the temple where he sort of learnt his monastic abilities, and he's always he thinks back to when he was just a young chick,
a little fledgling.
And he's, excited to go out into the world of adventure and not being able to because he's having to learn all of these sutras and all of these techniques. And, he's been waiting for this moment. So there's this flash of inspiration that sort of rushes through him as he saves Tetra from plummeting off this wing. He feels very happy.
Can we do a luck check to see if you ever saw this from up there?
Oh fuck yeah! Can we?
Oh.
All right.
I will. There's a lot going on there.
I will roll. I'll pull open Yervith's on character sheet, and I'll roll a perception check for Yervith. Here we go.
I do also have Yervith's character sheet open for me as well.
We actually need to level Yervith up. Two levels. He's level 15. He's not a god.
Oh, level 17.
He's not level 20.
Wait, do I have that in my...
He's only level 13.
Is that just an extra 1 to proficiency? So he just roll how it is and then add an extra 1 to it?
I actually have a level 15 stat sheet for him. I don't know why it's not.
We finished the campaign at level 15, I thought.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, he's still level 13 on the campaign page. But yeah, if you wanted to roll a perception check for Yervith, I believe at the moment it's +9.
For a perception check, it's a +13 on my
Plus
sheet.
13, do you want to roll?
Yeah.
Yervith was very perceptive.
He was.
Nice!
23. You don't know Niles.
I don't know.
You don't know.
Owen.
Hello.
When I do the vortex warp, can I put now? It says like within 90 feet. I can put her. In a space. I'm going to put her
just
on
on
the
top.
other side of that gap too, so she doesn't even need to make the jump.
Cool. Yeah. Now you just, for a second, you find yourself falling, and then you stumble standing at the top of the crevice, in the town square.
So I'm going to have her on. So then she can help us when we're jumping over. She can grab us. She's already done it.
Oh, cool.
We will assist.
I also like to think that the vortex warp is like a magic spell, like a sort of like a time thing. So almost like for a split second, everyone just sees her shoot up,
Yeah.
Almost
I like that. There's almost like an echo moving forward in time. This blurred, almost illusionary form as time speeds up. Yeah, as if she had caught herself, pulled herself up, and then ran up the side. There's almost this glitch as you watch as this. I like that idea a lot. The idea of it glitching, where you see almost 2 frames per second, but it's every second frame it's 60 frames per second. So it's and suddenly back at the top, these glitching in and out frames of now sort of in the process of running up and then arriving.
That's cool.
That's cool. Now, you're at the top. You just look back down at the wing. You can see your friends trying to run up towards you, running up the side of the wing as they head up towards you.
Yeah. Can now assist.
Absolutely. Now can reach out and try and catch people. 100%. I'm going to say that with Mold Earth and now catching you on the other side, there's actually no need for you to make a check. You're not even jumping anymore. You're now stepping off the wing onto the solid ground as now catches you in her arms. Their arms. There's literally no need for a jump or a check here. You've completely negated the need for any sort of rolling of a dice. Well done.
Nice. Teamwork.
At the top of this narrow ledge and the wing that led you to the top of the town square, you can now see before you the sphere standing in place, hovering ever so slightly off the ground, a little bit different to how you'd last seen it. When you last saw it, it was partially embedded. Now it has raised up and it's spinning ever so softly, just slowly rotating. Underneath it, you can see the occasional crackle of energy as it arcs down into the earth, and a network of pipes, tunnels and wires embedded into the soil that have been partially torn out by it lifting up. As it completes a part of a rotation, you can see there is a circular opening, an archway made of the same brass metal, this electrum brass metal that is almost carved into the obsidian itself of the stonework. It's moving and rotating so slowly that there's no issue for you to run up and try and jump in, if you wanted to.
Sounds good.
Going in.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Leroy Jenkins it.
Let's do it.
As you rush forward, Leroy Jenkins. As you rush forward and dive into the opening, jump into the opening. The inside of the sphere is shadow and darkness, and as you cross the threshold, there's a sudden flash of light that blinds you momentarily. A second later, as your eyes adjust, you blink away the light, you find yourselves standing on the wall, the inside of the sphere around you, forming this massive dome, seeming almost larger on the inside than it should. And as you look, you can see various parts spinning and moving. Stairways created from gears, slowly as the entire inside is a network of pipes, gears, passageways, as well as these flashing gemstones, all different colors: silver, white, red, green, blue, yellow, occasionally arcing with energy. In the very center of the sphere, hovering in place, is almost what looks like a trapezoid, composed of that silvery electrum, covered in those layers of brass plating, very similar to Loki's core. And you watch as part of it separates, shifts, turns, and locks back in again. Continually parts of it splitting and moving and turning. It's roughly about 10 feet in diameter. It's quite large, just hovering in place. In front of it, standing in place, is a small platform with a large opening in the shape of a handprint. For the last stage of the skill challenge, to get to the center of the sphere, you will need to ascend and make your way through to get to the essentially the interface. All around you, occasional gouts of steam shoot out, creating this scalding hot burst of steam from some of the pipes. But there are passageways up through the gears. There are places you could try and climb. And I would say, Krasus, as you are actually, no, this would be Tetra who notices this. Tetra, you've been playing around with magnetism and gravity. As you sort of sit up, you can feel a gravitational pull to the sides of the sphere. And as you tentatively begin to walk, you can find that you walk perfectly up the side of the sphere, as if it is pulling down at all times.
Whoa, that's cool.
The center of gravity is pulling from the center out. So almost pushing you to the walls of the sphere.
That's interesting. Okay.
Look at the force.
Cool.
So she's standing like almost horizontally, like.
I imagine we're all standing normally, and Tetra's already just like horizontal.
Has wandered partway up. Yeah, just wandered partway up the side of the wall. Tetra, it's kind of trippy. Your perception is telling you that what you're doing isn't possible. Like your vision and your knowledge. Although, there is something about this Tetra that feels weirdly familiar. This sense of gravity not quite being how it should be. It's not as unfamiliar to you. You don't have this extreme rejection of what your eyes are telling you. Everyone else does. Tetra, you would not have this. You would be feeling not as affected or afflicted by the change in gravity.
It's okay. Down is always the way.
Which way is down?
She points to the center of the sphere. That way is down.
Technically, that way is up, actually.
I know.
Okay, cool. Just making sure. Sorry. That's your subconscious that tells you that.
I was referencing in this game. The gate is down.
Nice. Yeah. What would you guys like to do?
Go up, down.
Yes.
Now is very confused. Now stand back and wait for someone else. And look around to make sure there's no threats.
Now, do you want to roll me a perception or investigation check? Your choice.
I wonder which one I'll do.
Investigation? Perception, 11.
Great. Investigation.
Now, there's no obvious threats. There's no obvious threats inside the sphere that you can see. No construct moving around. No sign of any physical dangers that match what you've seen outside the sphere. Those gouts of steam look to be scalding hot. The gemstones as well that are slowly rotating and moving seem to be infused with some sort of magic. You're not sure what, but as one of the white crystals moves past, you see the metal around it has frosted over with a thin layer of ice. Probably getting too close to those is not a good call. But that's all you get from an 11.
Tetra's going to try something. She's going to, standing horizontally, she's going to jump.
Okay. Yeah, you watch as Tetra jumps and then lands.
Okay.
Lands horizontally?
Just jumps and then lands. Because the last point of reference for your gravity had been there, so...
Yep.
Okay, so gravity doesn't...
That was a good try, though. If it had worked slightly differently, that might have worked, actually. That was very clever.
Yeah.
2 questions. So, do we reckon that, like, the in order to activate the panel that we all need to get onto there because our stones were 1 unit initially? Or do we think, are we thinking
that's
it's just
a good question. How would you know the answer to that? That's a tough one.
Looking at Tetra's, Tetra's like jumping off the side of the sphere. Niles is going to try and is there room enough in the sphere for him to be able to fly?
Flying is going to be very difficult. The movement of the gears and these pipes, as well as the gemstones flying around, you know it's going to be tricky flying. Miles.
Okay.
You can give it a go, but you know that you are going to be exposing yourself to danger. And part of the problem is that because different parts of it are spinning at different speeds, it's very hard to judge if you were to fly through this gap. Is that gap still going to be big enough by the time you get there?
Niles looks at all of the spinning gears and wheels and cogs and looks at his wings and sort of just says to himself I think I do want to keep my wings intact today. And sort of falls back in a little.
Tetra's going to try something else. Sorry, guys. Tetra's going to try because so you have the little her little rotating stone. She's just going to shoot the stone. Doesn't really matter where, just across. Cut across the center of the sphere, try and get as much free space, just throw a tiny little stone, and watch and see if it gets pulled in any strange directions by, say, changing gravity.
Tetra, you watch as the stone gets about, I'm going to say 20 feet up. The trajectory changes rapidly, no longer being pulled towards the floor, but now towards the center. With the momentum that it has and the angle that it's coming in at, you watch as it misses the center console, almost reaches the end, and then begins to fly back up again, forming a tightening circle of momentum until it smashes into the center console. Sorry, I shouldn't say smashes, until it drops onto the floor of the center console, skidding to a halt. So it orbits it for about 4 rotations of a collapsing circumference until it then crashes into the floor. Good question. That was very nicely done.
Nice.
How high was it before it started getting pulled up?
20 feet away from you. 20 feet up in the air. Yeah.
So it's 6 meters.
A little bit less than that, I think, because
they're on each other's shoulders.
Because it's roughly 5 feet to a meter. Is that right?
We could throw you.
3 feet to a meter.
Yeah. Can you Harry and throw Harry?
Well, Harry can jump 10 feet?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
So I can only jump 3 meters.
I mean, depending on how good our acrobatics are, maybe one person can try and do a handstand on someone else's hands. Their legs get pulled into the gravity circle. You keep holding on, and the other person gets pulled along with them.
As long as the gravity of the inner circle is stronger than the gravity of the outer circle. If it's not, then that person will just feel their legs being gently pulled.
I'm wondering, so is it a question of momentum? So it's pretty tight. There's lots of gears, there's lots of moving things.
And those crystals that are flying around, you notice that I'd say that with the perception check from now before, even though it's only an 11, you notice that whatever these crystals are doing, up to about 10 feet away from them, seems to be at the mercy of some sort of elemental effect. The white crystal that shot past before, there's ice growing across the metal at 10 feet away from the crystal.
As we're standing here formulating a plan,
Do these crystals seem to be moving in any sort
Everything's
of...
moving, yes. The crystals are constantly moving around. And
Are they moving in like a predictable pattern that would be
oh,
observable?
I'm going to get you to roll me an intelligence check. Just a flat intelligence check to try and spot the pattern. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So are these crystals big enough to jump on?
No, they're only about like they're about the size that you could hold in a hand. It'd be big though, like about 30 centimeters diameter. They're like reasonably large, but you could still hold them in your hand. 5, Niles.
Yeah.
Nah, man. You look at these things, like there is no pattern to be discerned here. It's impossible. There's as you look at this, your head spins. I mean, you can't move your eyes separately, so you have to move your whole head. You go. Your neck starts to like crack as you move it. You get this twinge down the back of your neck, trying to track these things.
Did you say the crystals, like the element was on the crystal, or was like following behind the crystal?
It looks like in about 10 feet away from each crystal, within 10 feet of each crystal, depending on the color, there seems to be some elemental effect occurring. So for the white crystal that just moved past...
like within 3 meters of it? Like
yes, within 3 meters. So for the white crystal, with all the metal within 3 meters is covered in a thin layer of frost.
So I guess catching one's probably not a good idea.
It's up to Harry. As you look at them, Harry, you think these are probably pretty valuable. I mean, elementally attuned gemstones. These would be worth a fortune.
Oh, I look at Harry, and I see Harry looking at the gemstones as well, and I say,
he is a
Harry,
merchant.
How do you plan on? Are you seriously considering taking them?
Oh no, I was just thinking about how they could help us.
Well, I mean, if you wanted to
help us monetarily,
like pull out the bag of holding, and I'm like,
No.
Which one's the least dangerous looking element?
Do you want to make me a investigation check, please, Harry?
Harry's thinking about it. Harry nods.
Yeah, just bag him.
Definitely not perception.
Definitely not perception. Investigation, because you're trying to figure out which one's the most dangerous. You're not just looking at them, you're trying to figure out natural one. Harry, as you look at them, you start to actually revise what you were thinking before. These aren't dangerous. These are fine. Like, as you look at them, you can see that the white one looks a bit chilly around. You can see the ruby. Probably it's a little bit warm, but these would be fine. There's no danger here. The only danger is missing out on profit.
Oh dear. Well, I'll try and bag a few crystals.
I do love making a natural one into a roleplay opportunity, and so more and more and more, I'm going to give you natural one answers that are like your subconscious, and I'm going to answer things as if it's like your own brain for your character. So for Harry in this moment, these aren't dangerous. These are probably worth quite a bit of money, Harry. I mean, you could be the merchant who provides elemental crystals to the wizards of the Unseen University. That's a line of profit that you've never exploited successfully before. No merchant has.
How fast are they moving?
Oh, you could try and run up and catch one. They're not that fast. I mean, there's definitely some gears moving around. You don't want to get your toes caught in those, but if you're able to, I mean, you're pretty fast. It's kind of like the devil on your shoulder. You're pretty fast, Harry. You could.
and they're like going in a straight, like not a straight line, but they're not like zigzagging like a snitch does in Harry Potter. But
they're not zigzagging like a snitch does in Harry Potter. It looks like they're moving along a trajectory, a circular trajectory. But the problem is that as they move through certain sections, the arc of the parabola changes slightly, and so there's almost this like. I describe it as imagine the very inaccurate model of an atom that you're shown, where electrons are moving around an atom. That's obviously not what happens at all. But kind of imagine that, where all of these things are moving, and as they reach certain points, the arc suddenly shifts, as if they're in like a track. So as it moves about, say, 20 degrees around the arc, suddenly the arc shifts, and now instead of moving along the vertical plane, suddenly it moves along the horizontal plane. Almost like, do you know what? Imagine it's the inside of a Rubik's Cube that's circular. And as things are moved and clicked, other things are moved and clicked into place. And so it's constantly being changed and shifted. It's actually not a bad visual metaphor for this.
That's a good one.
Does Harry have can Harry, like Harry checks his bag? Like, is there a gnat or like a? I'm sure he has an old piece of clothing or something like that.
Do you, if you have a net in your inventory,
I'm sure
you're good to go.
Okay. I'm sure he has a change of
You'd have some
jumper
clothing.
or
Yeah, you'd have a change of clothing.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. Harry is going to
Pull out a shirt, pull out a tunic.
without talking to any of his teammates.
Brilliant.
He's going to try and.
Could you roll me a d8 to see which one's closest? I want to know which gemstone you're going for.
Just FYI, I'm standing there with a bag of holding, just kind of opening it.
7, Harry. There's this very pretty yellow gemstone that catches your eye. Wow, looks good.
I'll try to catch it, and I'll try to redirect it into the bag of holding.
Oh, okay. I'll open it for you. Good luck.
Harry's gonna try and jump and put the shit up in front of the rock as a net to make it easier to like.
How high can you jump, Harry?
I can jump with my once per long rest. Oh, I'm gonna waste it. Yeah, fuck, stuff it. I'll waste it. Once per long rest, I can jump 3 meters.
As you before you do this jump, looking up, you can see this is about 15 feet off the ground. But if you can jump,
which is more
if you
than
can jump,
3 meters.
No, but if you can jump 10 feet up, how tall are you?
Oh, I'm like small, right? So I'm like 3 foot.
How small are you? Are you 3 foot?
I'm listed as a small creature, so I'm not sure that fits in.
If you were to reach out your arms, would that add an extra foot? I reckon with this you are just in range. If you can jump 10 feet up and then your body is 3 feet tall and you can add 2 feet with your arms, you're literally just in range to grab this.
What are the walls? Sorry, I missed that earlier. Is it
obsidian,
is it like a narrow
crystal?
cylinder?
No, it's imagine a giant sphere in the inside of a giant sphere.
But the walls are cogs and moving things, so I can't jump off the wall.
So you're standing on the wall. The wall is like this perfect sphere all around. But if you were to jump up and try and grab onto the side of the cogs, the cogs are constantly moving and clicking into positions. But you could run up part of the wall and then jump off onto one of the cogs, and that would get you within 5 feet of it if you wanted to. Yeah.
I mean, we're trying to get to the center anyway. Harry will try to jump up into a cog.
Great. Could I please have an acrobatics check from Harry as he does this? While Harry's doing this,
a ninja, so that's a 14.
14. You guys watch as Harry runs up part of the wall, jumps onto a cog, does a little somersault, and then you're running for the crystal at this point?
Yeah.
Fantastic. As you get within 10 feet of the crystal, I'm going to need you to make me a dexterity saving throw, please.
Cool. Once I have an ability that lets me know, is it once I know if I fail?
Which is the ability? I have to know what it is before I can...
Yeah, let me have a quick look. It is called Lucky Footwork. When you fail a dex saving throw, you can use a reaction to add a d4 and add it.
Okay.
Perfect. So it's once you know you failed. So yeah, dexterity saving throw, please.
Yeah, it's not even for a long rest. It's just a thing.
Just a thing you can do.
It's a rogue thing.
So I just click this here. Is that how?
And it should come through. Yeah.
18.
18. Harry, lucky you're only taking half damage from this.
No.
As you get within 10 feet of the crystal, this blast of lightning, this crack, shoots out, and you watch as an arc of lightning strikes into the metal cog right where Harry is standing. Harry just dodges out of the way. It hit the space where he was a second later. The hairs on the back of your neck, Harry, rising just in time to get you out of the way from this thing. The lightning still grazes you. You are going to take halved. That's 7 points of lightning damage.
Undesirable, but fine.
As
Harry will try again.
as the gemstone discharges, you watch as the gears around it doom 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 slow.
Ooh.
Now moving at about half speed.
What's happening to a good old friend Harry now that he's done this
Harry
jump?
is slightly singed and he's now sort of standing a bit dazed on a cog that has slowed right down.
Okay.
So at the moment,
So he's on the cog.
So he's standing on the cog. Because he didn't leap into the open air trying to grab it. That would have been real bad. You'd moved up to the edge of the cog. You wouldn't have been grounded.
From my ears to my toes.
Yeah.
It would have been like a Bugs Bunny skit, just getting away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Niles has the bag of holding open, like sees all this.
Yeah.
He's just like,
Slowly closes the bag.
Harry, I'm just going to put this away now.
Give me a sec. Harry's gonna Harry's gonna shoot at the same stone with his crossbow.
Harry's gonna what? Sorry, shoot the.
He's gonna try and shoot the stone with his crossbow.
The gemstone.
Yep.
Please make me a ranged attack.
Why not?
Keep the bag open.
It's a hard shot. It's not an easy shot. So
You're a pretty good shot. 23.
Oh, wow, man.
7 piercing damage. I'm trying to think of a reason why you would or wouldn't get sneak attack damage. It's an inanimate object. Does sneak attack apply to inanimate objects?
I wouldn't get sneak attack. I doubt I would get sneak attack. Yeah.
But I will double check.
It's like the inanimate object didn't know you were there.
Well, because that's what I wanted to double check. Sneak attack does not work on objects. Perfect. I just wanted to double check that because it doesn't make any sense that it would. Because there's no vulnerable spot that you're exploiting in a moment of distraction.
I shot the rocks back.
Yeah. 7 piercing damage. Harry, I'm going to get you to roll me a D100, please.
Oh, wow.
I can just see Ali slowly dying in the background.
Yeah, this is great. This is so good.
Chaotic good.
This is what D&D is all about.
Sorry, that's a D10.
That's a D10. That's a D10. We're going to ignore that roll. A D100.
28.
Okay.
That's what you want to hear from your DM.
Okay. So
I should have rolled another D10. Just use those two numbers.
I'm gonna need all of you to roll me a Constitution saving throw, please.
Oh no!
As the gemstone shatters and discharges, releasing energy from the elemental plane of air, specifically a bound storm, into the center of the sphere.
Oh no!
Harry, that's a 10. Now that's a 22.
Sorry, is that a Constitution saving?
Constitution saving throw, please.
Oh, Krasus.
Tetra, Krasus, Niles.
Oh no!
I think I'm going to do chronal shift on myself.
This is not what I thought was going to happen tonight.
It probably won't do very well. No.
I did not see. Natural 20, that's much better.
I'm going to straight up die at the end.
Okay, the reason that I'm getting you to roll Constitution is that the lightning's not the problem here, it's the thunder damage. As all of the energy of a captured storm is released in one go, this boom echoes inside the sphere, and because it is a perfect sphere and the walls are perfectly circular, the sonic energy, the sonic waves have only one place to go, and that is to continually rebounding inside the sphere through your bodies, which are the only things in here that will absorb sound, because you're the only thing that's not made of metal or crystal. Crystal resonates with sound, the human body absorbs it. So that's going to be... so for everyone who passed, that's going to be 16 points of thunder damage. For anyone who failed, that is going to be 32 points of thunder damage.
I'm going to absorb elements as well to take it less. I'll take 8 damage.
Do I have a reaction?
Can I just say, can you imagine if it had been the fire crystal? Because all of the energy of a volcano, not a volcano, but all the energy of the fire released into the metal around you.
I was max health
How you doing?
5 seconds ago, and now I'm on 2 HP. 2 HP! I'm just imagining everyone's fight and Niles just what?
Niles, you're right underneath the crystal with the bag open, ready to collect. When this thing goes off, you are just smashed into the wall of the sphere, and then as the energy ricochets again, you're bounced back up. The force of this pulling you into the air before it then smashes you back down into the wall of the sphere once again. The sound echoes through this thing. You are all deafened as well.
Wow.
Obviously.
Harry's also just laying there, downed.
I will let you know when the deafened condition has passed.
Yeah, I'm down.
Oh, you're down. Oh shit.
You're downed.
Down.
Dead. You're down. Oh,
My
okay.
total health pool is 31.
You watch as Harry. Okay, you watch as the limp body of this bunny just slowly slides off one of the gears and just falls lifeless to the floor.
Yeah, just Harry's in his
I healing word him.
What is it? Fuck you.
But do you know what my favorite part is? No one hears it. Like Lyra just goes, opens her mouth, and Harry, you suddenly you come awake as you open your eyes, suddenly recovering in the moment.
Does Harry take any injuries from?
Oh yeah. Don't worry, we're getting to that. So Harry,
Okay.
I need you to roll
This was
me.
completely avoidable.
I need you
am
to
so
roll me
sorry.
a Constitution saving throw. The DC is the damage it took to reduce you to 0, which is
Wait.
32. I don't think there's any way you can pass this. However, if it's a natural 1, I need to know, or if it's a natural 20, I need to know. So
Okay,
please.
so it was a
Constitution
save?
saving throw. That's a 9.
Fine.
That is definitely going to be an injury. Could you please roll me?
Another one.
Could you please roll me just a flat D20?
Do I still have a wound in my leg? Yeah, I do from grotesque.
Yep.
Like
Oh
Oh yeah.
yeah.
that's
You're
10.
taking some hits.
That's a 10. Let's open
Not
the injury
best,
table.
Not the worst.
and
This
have a
one
look.
was my own fault. So
If you had rolled, I think. Oh yeah. Oh.
Thunder damage on a 10. That is going to be minor traumatic brain injury.
Oh no!
can you have a minor traumatic?
You can have minor and major traumatic brain injuries. Yes, you can. And then the next step below that's a concussion, which is not a minor traumatic brain injury. It's a step below. The concussive force received has resulted in a minor traumatic brain injury, resulting in disadvantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma checks, as well as concentration checks. The injury will self-resolve after 3 weeks, or a lesser
Holy
restoration spell will recover you
No.
as you suffer brain
Yikes.
damage.
So does Harry have like odd twitches now?
What was that? Sorry.
Does Harry's have like odd twitches now?
Well, you watch as Harry sits up. There's just blood leaking from his ear as he sort of like just sits there, looking real dazed. So yeah, make sure you add to your character sheet, Dave, that you have disadvantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma checks. Not saving throws, just checks.
How do I do that?
Wow.
Just chuck it in your notes section. So just copy that and put it in your notes section, and then
Yep.
I'll and lucky you're not a spellcaster because it would
Yeah,
also
that
fuck up your ability to
Yeah,
concentrate
that
on
would be-
spells.
That would be fun.
This is for 3 real life weeks, right?
No. It's
How many
until your
weeks are we into the campaign?
it's until your character self-resolves a brain injury, mate.
Campaign will be over before.
3 weeks is generous.
Yeah.
I'm being generous with the 3 weeks resolution. That's like the minorest of minor traumatic brain injuries. I'm sure Claire will back me up here. Like most that stuff does not normally take 3 weeks to resolve. It's a lot longer than that.
2 decades. Oh dear.
Amazing. So with the discharge of the sphere, the crystal is vaporized in this moment. This quadrant where the gears were turning, or I should say this eighth, the gears cease and seize in position. There's the sound of metal grinding on metal as the sphere tries to compensate for the loss of mobility inside of it. And you watch as high above you, 2 of the gears collide into one another, grind against themselves, and then shatter, causing shards of metal to begin circling the inside of the sphere.
No.
Wait, what?
Slowly losing height until they collect and clatter onto the floor of the platform
Wow.
high above.
This is a mess. This is a mess.
So is there a platform in the middle?
There's a
that what
platform
we're
right
trying
in the
to
very
get to?
center. Yes.
How far away is that?
From where you guys are, it's about sort of 60 feet, 50 feet straight up in the air.
Okay.
And you know that about 20 feet away, 20 feet up in the air, gravity shifts towards the center of the sphere.
How long are we deaf for as well?
You don't know. I will let you know when that condition wears
Oh,
off.
okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Your characters, you just hear this ringing in your ears, this
Yeah.
brutal tinnitus.
what
Yep.
is that? So that 50 feet
Yeah.
straight up to
Yeah.
the platform.
Yep.
So what is actually, if we go a direct route,
there's gears moving, platforms, sections of steam, more of the crystals. There's all moving together in this concert around.
So it's not so easy to just teleport to the platform and then drop a rope.
I will say now there is a whole section that is no longer functional. The sphere where that crystal was that is now being destroyed, everything has stopped moving there. There is now a stable, easily navigated pathway where that used to be. Now it's just stopped, dead.
Okay. But yeah, what does it look like though if I did drop a rope just straight down?
The problem is, right, the way gravity works, like as you look at this, you know that it wouldn't be a rope going straight down. You'd have to have the rope somehow go up and then be far enough in that the gravity would catch it and hold it in place. Right. And then as people cross it, you have to hope that they're not holding on to then add to the weight, which would then pull it in either direction.
Hey Matt, you know what would be a great spell right now? Rope trick.
Yeah. Yeah. Where's Yervith when you need him, you know? Oh, well, that's right. He's bloody fighting a dragon. That's cool. Yeah.
Looking through the section of the sphere that has now ceased to function as a result of the destruction of the energy crystal, I mean, the gears are just stopped dead. Some of them are forming natural platforms. Others you could almost just walk up like stairs. The teeth creating makeshift stairs up the sides. I mean, you'd have to do a little bit of jumping between, but they're not moving anymore. So it's not that hard to navigate if you wanted to just climb up and move across it.
Start trying to climb, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Niles picks himself up the floor and just follows, like a little bit sad that he took that much damage.
Now we'll pick Harry up and escort him.
I'm so sorry.
Is that Harry or is that Dave?
Both. That's Dave. Harry looks up and just gives him a thumbs up, and he's just gonna wait down here.
I imagine that like Niles's plumage is like all like everywhere as well. Like I'm like like static electricity. I'm just like
It was it's interesting that the storm that was unleashed, the lightning was almost not destroyed. The lightning was almost completely compressed and kept in the center, while that concussive release of the actual thunder that was what hit you. If you'd been closer, might have been a bit worse.
Owen, what's
unluckily,
again?
Hello.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna make a joke. Unluckily, flying types are weak against electric.
Yeah,
sure. That's why I took super effective damage.
What's on the platform again that we're trying to get to? Like, what is there actually there?
There's a large handprint, a giant's handprint in place on a raised dais, and then hovering above that, constantly shifting and moving, pulling itself into pieces and reforming, is this collection of silvery, almost like silvery metal that resembles electrum, bound in the copper brass plating that is very reminiscent of the giant deck. Slowly pulling itself, forming shapes. So sometimes a pyramid, sometimes a rhombus, sometimes a cube, sometimes a trapezoid, constantly shifting and changing shape, moving in and around itself.
Okay. All
right.
Yep,
As you guys be it, so I know that Niles and Lyra are moving up. Now, you said you were picking up Harry and bringing him with you.
Well, not if he doesn't want to. If he kind of indicates, I'll stay here.
Harry is happy to be carried, but he's just in no shape to climb.
Oh, okay. Well, now we'll cradle him.
Perfect.
Harry like holds on tight and just like sobs.
As we're moving up towards these sort of stationary cogs, Niles is just going to he kind of like puts his talon into almost like a chopping, like almost like kind of like that, into a chopping gesture, and then he just kind of like whacks his body, trying to reactivate some key, a chakra point in his body to sort of give himself a bit of relief. He's going to actually use Quicken Healing. He's going to spend 2 key points to give himself some HP back.
Very nice. Quickened healing. What does that specifically do? So it gets your HP back. Does it say anything else in the flavor of the?
Nah. Look, it just says as an action, you can spend 2 key points to regain 1d4 plus 2. So it's not a whole lot of.
I'm going to
HP,
keep that in mind though, because if you're healing your body, that might speed up your eardrums recovering as well, which have all been poked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll keep that in mind. Although again, your hearing is much more sensitive as an owl's. So I'll keep that in mind. Thank you. I will keep that in mind. That's good to know, actually. Everyone who's making their way across the gears to try and get to the center, I'm just going to need an athletics or an acrobatics check. Just roll. Dave, you don't need to make one because Harry's being carried by now. 21 for now, 17 for Tetra, 15 for Lyra.
So Sova's not doing anything at the moment. Can she give me the help action?
Absolutely.
Perfect. 17's good.
17, fantastic. And just one for Niles. I think you rolled quickened healing twice.
Was it acrobatics, was it?
Or athletics, your choice, but I'm assuming you'll take...
definitely doing acrobatics.
Yeah, I figured.
That's only 14.
14, perfect. No, you all pass. The DC is much lower because there's stuff not moving. Yeah, by destroying the crystal, even though that was a terrible idea, it does... It is one way to do it.
It worked.
As you get to the center platform, the changeover between points of gravity is very disconcerting for all of you, Tetra. All of you find that changeover as gravity no longer pulls you down, but pulls you up. You have to sort of like catch yourselves and move a little bit, shuffling and falling slightly and to avoid tripping. But Tetra just naturally and nimbly switches across, moving between the 2 different platforms as the gravity shifts.
Actually,
Legolas in the snow.
As you get close to the point of gravity, it's almost as if she's stepping up like vertically one way. She almost like this little hop and like a partial rotate, so that when the next gravity catches her, it falls down.
Nice, very much like an astronaut on our world would. Very nice. As you get up to the platform, you can see that it is covered in shards of metal, a small stone, but the massive giant handprint inlaid onto that dais stands before you. What would you like to do?
I think Lyra probably just straight down, see what happens.
Press the button, Lyra!
Brilliant.
Push the button.
Lyra, as you place your hand upon the dais, all of you around feel that pull from your hands, the same sensation you'd felt when you tried to move them close together and they snapped onto one another. You feel your hands pulling you towards the dais, one on top of the other, as they stack up, forming that same original shape that the Heartstone had been in before. There's the sound of metal grinding on metal for a few seconds beneath you, and the whole sphere suddenly grinds to a halt. The dais begins to light up. You hear the sound of energy pulling this as the dais begins to light up. And as it does so, your vision fades to white and black. And that is where we're going to wrap up for tonight. We will jump back in next episode to see how that resolves. Thank you so much, everybody, for a wonderful session. That was lots of fun. I did not see any of that stuff coming.
That was great.
Amazing.
Well done, Harry.
Well done, Harry.
That's how I play Baldur's Gate.
That explains a lot. Yeah, that explains a lot. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
And Owen, I have one question.
Go.
Now the sphere has stopped moving.
Yeah.
Does the gravity still pull towards the edges, or is it just taken over from the middle falls?
I don't think this is a spoiler. The gravity reasserts itself to the natural gravity of the planet.
Okay.
Once the sphere is no longer spinning. So the gravity is all pulling downwards, to the floor of the platform now.
I do love it when you insert some black hole physics into our D&D campaign.
Yeah, that's great.
Do you enjoy it when I put in some high concept level physics just for fun? Because why not?
Why not?
just because it messes with your brains, and I know you enjoy it.
I love my D&D with a layer of science. It's good.
Right? It should be. I feel like it should all be as much as possible. use real world physics as a supplement to help explain and ground the world, because it's so much more believable. So much more immersive.
Yes, much more believable.
Yeah, having like pockets of localized gravity as a result of crazy giant tech. I don't know. I just find it fun to put that stuff in, and it's cool to imagine. And I want the giant tech to feel alien in a way to what you're used to. And this is one of the easiest ways to do it, is to make it science fiction level fantasy rather than this sort of like ancient runic stuff. I thought it's a cool play on the giants. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. It's been lovely sharing our time with you and sharing our session. If you've enjoyed it, make sure you hit that like button if it's on YouTube, or leave a review if it's on the podcast platform. And if you do happen to hit the subscribe button on YouTube, it'll be a massive help. We are almost at the 850 mark, which is a massive milestone on our way to 1,000. If we hit 1,000 before the end of the year, which is looking pretty likely, that would be amazing. And I have an idea for a special treat as a as a marker for when we hit the 1,000. I don't want to say too much, but I've got something special planned for that I'll reveal a bit more as we get a bit closer.
All your players level up?
That'd be lovely, but no, I've got something better. Something better in mind for me, not for you guys. I mean, player level up would be great for you guys, but I've got something better for me. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Stay safe, stay well, and we will see you all again really soon. Until then, good night and goodbye. Farewell!
Bye!
Mwah.
Bye.